You're knowing what you're wanting. It moves about, yes. Are you enjoying the idea of desire? Are you enjoying the experience of desire? Are you enjoying the experience of not yet fulfilled desire? That's the rub, isn't it? Well, we like to ask because when your life and the variety that you are living causes you to give birth to a desire, there is a buffer of time between the birthing of the clarity of the desire and the manifestation of it, usually. And if during that buffer of time you are sure it's going to happen, then the desire fuels you. It's like life-giving. But if during that interim you doubt it, or you worry about it, you don't believe it, you don't think it's possible, then the desire feels like a torturous friend. In other words, desires that you believe feel great. Desires that you doubt are just nagging, irritating. Have you ever heard yourself say, I wish I didn't want that. I felt better before I knew I wanted that. Because wanting it and not believing it doesn't feel good. But we want to say to you, you can't take the desire back. The desire can morph into something different. The desire can clarify into something more. But you cannot become less than what life has caused you to become. So when sifting through life, desires are born, and they are all day, every day. If you don't find a way to be a vibrational match to the new desire that is hatched, you have tension within you, vibrational tension. Vibrational tension is indicated to you by negative emotion. Vibrational alignment is indicated to you by good feeling, positive emotion. So, just to be very clear about that, as you sift through the details of your life, knowing what you don't want, and therefore knowing what you do want, because there is a proportionate, equivalent other side of that wave, that vibrational wave every time. So if you really don't want something, you really want something. And if you sort of don't want it, then you sort of want it. In other words, there's this contrast that helps you sift all of that out. So as you are launching these rockets of desire, more is happening than that you are launching rockets of desire. What's actually happening is the larger, non-physical, vibrational source energy part of you is immediately becoming the vibrational equivalent of your desire, because in the vibrational realm where we are, where the larger part of you is, there is no buffer between wanting and receiving fully. That resistance only exists out here on this leading edge. So when your life causes you in your physical form to ask for more, your inner being part of you, the God force part of you, becomes that new and improved version immediately. The question is, are you up to speed? Another question is, how long is it going to take you to get up to speed? Another question is, are you paying attention to your emotion, which helps you get up to speed? Another question you often ask is, how long is it going to take me to get up to speed? And we say, it's really a decision away. It's a decision, and the decision is, how much negative emotion or trauma am I willing to endure? Jerry looked up a word in the middle of the night on his computer dictionary, threshold. What's the threshold of pain that I'm willing to endure? Because their tolerance for pain is almost non-existent. They have parlayed themselves into a very good life, and they want things to go well. And when they don't like it, and you don't either, but different people to varying degrees have desensitized themselves to their emotional system. So quite often you're willing to be ornery. You're willing to live in dread. You're willing to feel apprehension or hatred or anger. You're willing to put up with those emotions, Not because you like them, you never ever do, but because you can't figure out how to change the circumstances that make them go away. So we've been saying for a while that here's this vortex where the larger part of you is and everything you want is. And law of attraction has already assembled all of the cooperative components. All of the cooperative components. The question that this workshop wants to ask and answer with you is, are you one of those cooperative components? And the answer is, if you feel frisky, yes. If you're feeling joyful, yes. If you feel pensive, no. If you're dreading or fearing or worrying, no. If you're angry, no, you're not a cooperative component. So think about what it feels like when an inspired thought occurs. You know what that is? That's you close enough to the vortex that the vortex takes you in and you get an emotional glimpse of the solution that you've been seeking. And that's really what we want to help you come to the place of understanding and then immediately beginning to achieve all day, every day. Because friends, there is nothing that you cannot be or do or have. If this time-space reality has the wherewithal to have inspired the desire within you, it has the wherewithal to deliver the goods. We just want you to be more excited about finding the feeling of the vortex than you are about the goods of the manifestation. If we can convince you that it's all about the way it makes you feel, then the manifestations will begin to roll in. But then you will really have it. Get into the vortex and then. Get into the vortex and then talk to your kids. Get into the vortex and then have discussions with your employer or employees. Get into the vortex and then talk to your lover. Get into the vortex and then. Because there's a tendency, and we're going to tell you one short story and then we're going to open it for whatever you want to talk about. There's a tendency. Jerry and Esther had a magnificent breakfast this morning. We'll start there. But prior to this morning, the last several breakfasts in the last several hotels have been not good. Jerry can't get them to create his eggs the way he likes them. They come rubbery and inedible. And so a few hotels ago, they were sitting in front of oatmeal that was so runny, it was awful, and eggs that were so well cooked, they would have been better used as a rubber ball to bounce around. And Jerry and Esther were looking at each other, feeling abject failure. We're better than this, they said to each other. And then they spent about the 20 minutes that it took them to sort of eat around this mess of a breakfast, plotting a better breakfast. And we say, you can't get to a new and improved breakfast when you're planning for it in the middle of one you're disappointed in. You just can't buck that current. And then we began teasing. We have these wonderful affirmation cards. Money and the law of attraction, health and the law of attraction. These are masterfully written. We wrote them. Beautifully illustrated. And it's infinite intelligence approaching the subject of financial well-being. So from outside the vortex, let's say you're struggling, have been for a while, you're irritated about it, maybe even frightened, and so you think, well, infinite intelligence wrote these, must be some value for me. I think I will buy these cards and I will affirm my financial well-being. So standing in your place of fear or aggravation or concern, you begin to read, I do not need to have money to attract money. Well, that's a good thing. It comes not by magic, but by universal law. Right. Oh, here's a good one. I can have money and freedom too. Who writes this stuff? My attention to it invites the essence of it. I have control over the thoughts I think. Sure I do. So what we're demonstrating with our infinite sarcasm is that from outside the vortex, from that place of disappointment, that's not the time to affirm an improved life. You see what we're getting at? Because doesn't it just make you angry at whoever wrote these stupid cards? From inside the vortex, and that's really the point that we want to make. That vortex is going to take you in every day at one point or another. You're going to have a moment where your heart is lifted just a bit. It might be driving down the road and seeing a dog hanging its head out the window for just a moment. Just gave you a moment of that feeling of freedom. Someone you might adore might call you. You might look into the face of someone. You might hear a song on the radio that loosens your resistance for just a moment. Every single day, you make your way into the vortex just accidentally. You just sort of stumble in because the vortex is the dominant part of you. In other words, you feel it sometimes. And if you will keep a sort of ear to the ground and do all of your affirming once you're in the vortex. In other words, from inside the vortex, milk it. From inside the vortex, acknowledge that you feel better and then try to focus upon whatever it was that you think might have made you feel better and try to hold that vibrational mental position for just a little longer. If you will do your affirming from inside the vortex, what happens is you practice alignment. And the more you practice alignment, the more you offer the vibration that brings you more. In other words, it's just like this cycle where the better you feel, the more that feels good comes to you. And the more you focus upon that, the more that feels good comes to you. So this is the primary leading edge, new place. Some of you have been with us for a while. Some of you are on some of those tape programs where you've been up to speed. This is the new place that we're taking you now. This is the new place where your life is taking you now. And this is the story that we want you to remember. You cannot attract an improved breakfast when you are trying to do it while eating one you're disappointed with. And that applies to everything. You cannot attract an improved financial position when you make all your effort and offer all your action and do all your trying from your place of defense or from your place of fear. In other words, you got to give yourself a break. You can't buck your own current. That's really what we're saying to you. If you've got that vortex going and that's what you've been doing for a while, words aren't enough to compensate. And action isn't enough to compensate either. You got to wait until you are in the vortex where the energy that creates worlds is, and that is when. That's the operative word that we're wanting you to reach for. When do I affirm? When I'm in the vortex. When do I affirm? When I'm in the vortex. We say to our friends, don't worry, if you don't know what the negative emotion is and you don't do something about it, don't worry, it will get bigger. And if you still don't deal with it, don't worry, it will get bigger until eventually it will manifest. Don't you want to deal with your resistance when it's in the emotional stage rather than it's when in the truck running over you stage or the cancer in your body stage? Now, we want to say it doesn't matter at what point you decide to release the resistance. You can do it under any and all conditions. You just have to know that it's not something that you do with discipline. It's not something that you do with willpower. We don't want you to restrain yourself. We don't want you to be in a place where the vibration is so strong that you just have to bite yourself to hold back from it. We want you to be in the place where you're not having to restrain or hold yourself back. We want you to be a cooperative component to what you do want. We want the universal power of the law of attraction to be drawing you forward into the completion or culmination of that which you are. We want you to be inspired into the vortex rather than outside the vortex trying to motivate your way in. Can you hear the difference? Can you feel the difference? Good. Now, what do you want to talk about? Oh, you've come with things. We're going to have a wonderful, wonderful gathering.